All right, it's 12 o'clock. I've been waiting for today. We were just on with VIP, Fast and Furious, breaking down their money stories, and literally got one of our VIPers, one of our people, new people for 67-day year in, and they've made their decision on the boulders. Because if you're going to move to that 6 and 7 figure level, you've got to be in the fast decision making. Good to see you jumping in. Good to see you, Nicholas. Good to see you, Pam. Lindsay, good to see you. Good to see you guys all jumping in. And of course, I see my coaches in the green room. So I see you guys. We'll pull you up here in a minute. But are you ready today to unhook and unleash from some old, broken money stories, money patterns that keep repeating? Not enough money. I can make it, but then I lose it. I don't know how to make money. Money just seems to disappear and run away from me. It's hard to make money. All of these patterns. And we've been talking about the two core elements in the 67-day year are these patterns. And you're going to find out today how these patterns get started and how to go about removing them. And the key thing I was telling VIP that I'm going to talk about here is why the coaching in 67-day is so powerful. Because here's what I know about you. If you've been with me all week, you're a high performer. You want to accomplish these goals and these dreams. And if the idea that the pattern is a blind spot, you are so smart that if it wasn't a blind spot, which means you don't see it, the coaches will be able to. And that's, I hope, the thing that feels really comforting, because you've tried to overcome these things before and they seem to be cyclical, right? Tell me in the chat if it feels cyclical, like the same story keeps cycling back about money. Like you might get somewhere and then you lose it, or it just keeps coming back like this pattern that's repeated, right? Yeah, repeat exactly. This pattern just keeps going and going and going. So this is the power of being in the 67-day year. You unhook from the patterns and you create a year's worth of goals in 67 days. And taking that forward from the next 67 days into the next and the next and the next means there are no limitations that get in the way. The patterns that you have around money, there are patterns around other things. And we're going to talk about how those things get created. Beverly says, my procrastination around it. Did you know that is your brain serving you neurochemicals to stop you from getting to where you are going? So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Today is all about flipping your money stories. And I just want to remind you what you have been up to this week. And first of all, congratulate you, because so many of you have been just on fire and making so much progress. We had 3 different people, y'all, get new clients. One person has built their business by $10,000 through this free live Fast Forward Your Future event. Can we give some love to those people who they created their meaningful goal. They went live in the group. They actually got so motivated by it, by creating their mountain. They went live in their own community, which weren't very big. That's your next thing. Oh, they probably had this big community, like 15 people. And they went live and said, this is what I want to do this year. And I want to help you. And started getting people calling and saying, I want to work with you. And $10,000 for one person contract sold in this free event, because she got really clear about her meaningful goal, about not everybody's goals, not the 100 things, but what's meaningful for me. She defined her mountain, and you've been defining your mountain. Like, what is that one thing for this year? And then brought it down to all the boulders. And then yesterday we decided on one boulder. And then we were in VIP. Some of people are between boulders. That okay. When we do the intensive, we will get you so crystal clear. You'll know you're stepping into the perfect boulder with all the steps. And yesterday we dove into decision and all the distractions like perfectionism, procrastination, overwhelm, being tired, just the whole thing, imposter syndrome, that your brain is serving you to keep you small. Those are the patterns that stop you. And if you just hang out with us and you don't join 67 Day Year, then those patterns will keep repeating and they will run 90% of your daily decisions, actions, and results. So you can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. The old systems don't work. They make you a great hourly employee, but they don't create financial freedom. So you've been very busy, and today is day 5. Now, who here is joining for the very first time? They're like, wait a minute, I just joined. Put first time in, and in replay, do the same thing. Say first time in the chat if you're jumping in for the first time. Put first time. Okay, great. I see a couple first time. So that's okay that you missed previous days. So we said, like, I missed previous day. I feel like I need to go back. So you're not behind. You're in perfect time. So here's you want to go to this website, and this will be your weekend. You'll be able to literally up level your life over this weekend. Who's excited about that? And those of you who've been watching live every day, this is your chance to go back, listen again, catch the next thing that is really, really moving you. So go the replay page, and you get it sent to you in the emails too, but it's 67dayreplay.com. So if you guys could put that in the chat, 67dayreplay.com, and just bookmark it. That's how you're able to watch all the replays. There's a button there for you to join 67 Day Year right from there. So don't let your brain say I'm behind. Let your brain say, this is my first. What a great first day to be unhooking from your money stories, right? What a great first day to be unhooking from your money stories. And then you can go in and watch the last 4 days, do the action steps over the weekends. If you've watched, but you haven't done the action steps, it's a way to really get your year in motion. Now, let's just be real. We're coming to the end of the first quarter. Summer's coming. We're planning camps. We're planning those things. That's exactly why we're opening the doors to 67 Day Years right now, because you'll, in the next 67 days, somebody in VIP was saying, by June, I have got it done. And then I'm able to actually spend the time with the reason I'm doing this all for. I'm so excited for that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Where's Ashley? Ashley, so excited to have you with us. Okay. So now you know that. I just wanted to make sure you knew 67 Day Replay is there for you, talking about all the things that you've been doing. You know what? I need to stand up again. I'm sorry. I got to do it. I just have too much energy to be sitting down. So let me pull that up. Give me 1 second. Moving my chair. I was literally rocking in the chair. I'm like, okay, this can't be. I've got to pull this in. All right. So today we're flipping the money stories. And Monday, make sure you have it in your calendar. I've got 4 more trainings for you next week. The doors to 67 Day Year close next Thursday. Next Thursday, the doors are closed. We're diving in April 11th. You're going to want to join over the weekend, and we'll look at some of the bonuses and those things later in today's training. But I want to dive into it. But Monday, we are going to actually completely finish your personal 67 Day Year. So you've got your boulder and you've been brainstorming all the things that you need to do to accomplish that. Keep brainstorming over the weekend. Bring your Post-it notes Monday, and we're going to show you something you've never seen before that's going to allow you to accomplish a year's worth of goals in 67 days. I'm so excited about that. And Monday, we've got another big winner we're going to announce. So you don't want to miss that, because as I've been saying, I'm giving away time savers like cleaning your house, food for a week. What else saves time? If you got a big yard, having somebody take care of your yard a couple times so that you can take the time to really dive in and build your 67 days. Okay, let's get into your training, your brain to allow financial freedom. Tell me in the chat if your vision, your meaningful goals, your desire, the place you're going to, the thing that you're trying to create is financial freedom. I just want you to put financial freedom in the chat. Financial freedom in the chat. And now I'm going to remind you, if this is your first time, you haven't heard this, next week we've got, while you're writing financial freedom in the chat, next week we've got, on Monday we're going to be doing the final part of your 67-day year and brain priming, how to build a pathway to allow success in your brain. On Tuesday, I'm actually bringing in a workshop all around. This will be kind of part 2 to today of how do you actually create financial freedom. So that's going to be Tuesday. On Wednesday, I'm bringing some people in that have gone through the 67-day year, and they're just going to share their process, where they were, how they created it, what it was like. Because sometimes it's just great to hear from people like you that not just will it work, but will it work for you and what it's done for them. And then on Thursday, all of these are at 12 p.m. Central. Rex Crane's going to join us and talk even deeper on removing limitations. So that's what I have in store for you next week. But as I'm looking in the chat, we've got financial freedom like crazy, like everybody, financial freedom. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so some of you have heard me talk about this story before, but I'm going to start with an interesting story. There was some research about scarcity and abundance, and a group of researchers worked in a place where this one specific type of monkey was. Now, you guys, a lot of you have heard this story, but I'm going to tell, if this is the first time, if you've heard my monkey story, say monkey. If you haven't heard it, say haven't heard it. But I love sharing this because it's a great way to kick off money mindset training, because this group of monkeys are most similar to us. And I'm not going to get into all of the science behind that, but they wanted to do research with these monkeys, and they had a cup, kind of one of those big cups that, and you have these, it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap, that if you put something in it and you grab it and try to pull out, you can't. But if you let go, you can, right? If you push in, you can. So it's similar to that, where these monkeys, they love this one type of banana, and it's the sweetest banana, and they're like crazy pants for it, and they go a little crazy for it, and it's really loud. I actually watched the video of this. It's so loud listening to that video, because they just, the monkeys just go crazy, kind of like us with trying to get to financial freedom, right? And so what the researchers did is they cut up bananas that were this perfect kind of banana that has this incredible sweetness that these monkeys go crazy for. And they brought them into this environment, and they can smell it, right? So they're looking for it, they see the cups, and they're drawn to it from their smell. And the monkeys quickly put their, I guess they would call them hands, yeah, hands into the cup, right? And they grab the banana, but when they grab the banana, they can no longer pull it out. And the crazy thing is in this environment, there are trees just chocked full of this banana that they could go to and eat as much as they want. But still, the monkeys are sitting there, and they're pulling and they're pulling, and they're getting more and more frustrated because they just want to get what they can see. They can see it, and now they want to get it. And meanwhile, they're ignoring all the abundance that's around them, because they're focusing on working so hard to get what's in their hand, their safety, that they've completely ignored the abundance around them. And all the monkey has to do is let go and pull their hand out and go into the trees and get as many as they want. But most of them stayed at that and stayed at that, never looking up. Do you ever have that feeling like you're just not looking up, and you can't find the answer, and you don't know the right decision, and you're just like, I can't see it. I just need to get this number and this number. It's kind of like scarcity and abundance. So I'm here today to tell you to let go of the banana. Like, we're going to start to break down these stories today. And it's really how the brain allows belief about what money is and money isn't, and how the brain can, and this is what we do in 67-day year, eliminate the lies. Now, I'm going to quickly go through. Again, I'm going to ask for your permission for it, just the tiniest bit of science, and then we're going to deep dive into flipping and unleashing you. But a little bit of science, but I need your permission. May I go there? May I teach you a little bit about your brain that you did not know before? I want to get your permission first. Want to get you permission first. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm waiting. We won. We won all the science. I love that picture of you, girl. I love all that picture of you. Okay, so in our neurocoach model, this is how your brain allows a result. Situations are neutral. So I want you to write the word STEBDAR, STEBDAR on your paper. This is the holy grail of the neurocoach model. This is how your brain allows a result or stops a result. So it's important for you to know this as we go into this financial freedom component, because if we have a thought that does not align with our future, your brain will serve you fear to allow you to stay small and safe. So situations are neutral. We learned this over the last few years with things like COVID, because people had different thoughts on this. I know I'm grabbing a topic that's probably a little charged still, but the situation of COVID, as horrible as it is neutral. If I had a thought that it was one thing, I had different emotions about it. So there were people that thought it was manufactured and they had a certain emotion. There were people that thought it was going to, harm everybody. There's people who lost people, right? And so based on that thought, let's make it a little lighter. Let's think about, I'm growing my business, right? And I'm wanting to make an offer. And you got person A making an offer and person B making an offer. And they all have 10 followers. Okay. We'll get rid of the hypercharged topic and move it into our world of business, right? So imagine person A goes to make an offer and they have 10 people show up and one person buys. Same situation for both person A and person B, entrepreneur A and entrepreneur B. Person A says, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is amazing. I can't believe this. This is one person bought. Yay!" Like they're so stoked, right? So tell me, based on thoughts and emotions, what do they now believe, which is the B in that STEBDAR? What do they now believe? Tell me in the chat. That person A, they have the thought, this is amazing. I have a new person. This is incredible. I'm going to keep doing it. Tell me what their emotions are. You can tell me without even meeting this person. Tell me what they feel and tell me what they believe. Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. This is important to your money story. That's why I'm going into it right now. Yeah, like I can do this, right? I love this 10% conversion, Pam. You're my girl, right? Like they can get more people. I can't believe I can make money. That is so true. Like, what else would excited? So we don't even know this person. They're elated, they're excited. What's their physical being? Like, how's their physical stature? How are they, like, if you saw them, what would you see? What would you be filming, right? Tell me that. And Alex, keep me on track because in 15 minutes I want to bring you guys on. So I got to teach really well. So like yell at me or something. Like go like this. All right, elated, excited. Tell me what they'd be glowing. Exactly, right? More confidence. All right. So now I'm going to talk about entrepreneur B over there. Entrepreneur B is like, gosh, only 10 people showed up. This sucks. Like, what was I thinking that I could actually grow a business and only one person bought? Like, I can barely buy bread for that. Like, ugh, like, I'm not sure if I can do this. This is just horrible. Tell me in the chat their emotions and their beliefs and even their stature. Tell me what you would see if you filmed them, right? Disappointment. I love that. Deflated, defeated. What else? What else would you see? What would you see from person, from entrepreneur B that's just like, ugh, this is stupid. I knew this wouldn't work. Tears. This is me. Frustration, discouraged, limited. They're creating defeat before they get started. Yet we will chase strategies to solve this. And we go from course to course, tactic to tactic, strategy to strategy, looking for an answer when we are now feeling defeated and glum and sad because of the thinking that creates the emotions. So situation is neutral. Do we agree? Same situation, but thoughts creates emotion. That's a T and the E of Stebdar. Repetition creates your subconscious. That's belief. So if I repeat that enough, I now have an autopilot program that's running 90% of the time that's either for person A and they're going to get to 6 figures and 7 figures. Tell me, is person B going to be very successful? Tell me in the chat. See, the patterns of thought and emotion, which become belief, are the driver in the driver's seat of your results. Because we know from science, 90% of our decisions come from belief, which came from thought and emotion. This is what we coach inside 67 Day Year. That's why you've got to go and join at 67dayyear.com, because we can't leave these stories that are blind spots that we cannot see to move us to where we want to be. Can I get an amen for that? So if you've been on the fence for 67 Day Year, it is time. It doesn't matter if you accomplish anything. If you move this pattern, everything becomes possible. We have other tools in there called the Mind Matrix. We're going to talk about that today. Monday, we're going to dive into the tool of brain priming. These all work together to unhook you from beliefs and build a 67-day year. But that reason alone. In fact, when I interview people that have gotten to 6 figures, 10 new clients, 10K months, 20K months because of 67-day year, you know what they tell me? Tell me what you got out of it. I no longer feel like money is evil. I no longer feel like I'm not worth it. I no longer feel so confused. I finally have confidence. It's all the patterns. It's all the patterns, right? So what pattern do you want to remove around money? So that's what we're going to dive into real quick here. So I'm going to start with this question. I want 100% of you answering this question. It's going to give you an anchoring point as you go into 67-day years. We all have the need for safety. So I was asking VIP, I'm going to ask you as well, what is your safe number? What is the number that if it's in your bank account or if you're making it per month, you can go, oh, I feel safe. And it's funny because what I'm about to teach you doesn't matter where you are right now, where you are about to be at the end of 67 days when you join 67-day year, or where you're at when you get to 6 figures, or where you're at till you get to 7 figures, because their safe number is always shifting. But you're always going to have a safe number. See, well, I'm going to wait for that. So what's your safe number? Tell me in the chat. 100% of you, tell me in the chat. What is your safe number? And don't compare your safe number to someone else, because we all have different safe numbers for whatever reason, okay? So these are my safe numbers, right? So what is that number that you're shooting for to get to in your business, that when you get there, and watch what happens. Thoughts and emotions create beliefs, right? So tell me if this is you're going to see a belief that you might not realize you have. I see you 20K a month, 10K a month. But the belief is when I get to that safety number, then I can play full out. Before I get to that safety number, I don't feel like I've got to be really careful. I've got to be guarded. It's hard. Isn't that interesting? Anybody just have an aha? Like, I am trying to be safe to get past my safety number. What? It seems like the more you get, the more you need. That's funny. All right, so you got it. Your safety number. You got your safety number. All right. Now, what is your freedom number? Because you all said you wanted financial freedom. So, what is your freedom number? What is the number that you're like, heck yeah, I don't have to think or worry or anything. I've gone from safety to freedom. See, before this training, you probably didn't know this was what's governing your decision making. Just like person A and person B, there was a pattern running that until you get to safety, you can't have freedom. Until you get past safety, you can't have freedom. And if you haven't defined that freedom number, you're going to start to see, okay, my safety is 10, my freedom is 50. Amazing. I love that you guys are putting this here. Now, what does it feel like? Remember, thoughts and emotions create beliefs. This is only one repetition of this freedom number. But what is that freedom number? Just try it on. Imagine it's a jacket that you just try on. Whatever you wrote for that freedom number. I just want you to pause for a second. Think about that number being in your bank account. And just tell me what that makes possible. Tell me what that freedom makes possible in the chat. What does that make possible? I'm going to wait for you to answer. Because once you start to feel the feelings of not just safety, because safety is survival, freedom helps you do things like be able to give more and serve more and love more, right? Safety versus freedom. What else? Travel and not worry about bills, right? What else? Expanding livelihood in area of, or just like literally close your eyes, lifestyle, helping family, live free, help by the boys a ranch, and help my grandson and help Nigeria. What else? Keep writing, travel, freedom to do so, spend time, serve. See, now we're showing our brain what we want to be safe. So give more. I think I had that up. Give more, plan, save more, travel more, right? I can feel relaxed. Do you see how so much of this safety versus freedom, and as you're moving, it is building a belief in your mind. No worries for my girls. Take a honeymoon with my husband that we haven't had. Help people in need, right? Serve others. So my freedom number, so my safety number has moved dramatically over the last 10 years. And I was telling VIP, I have now a generosity number that's attached to my safety number. So I am moving to a reverse where I give away 90% and keep 10. That's what I'm moving toward. And so same thing, like the thoughts, you notice what everybody is commenting are not houses and cars and more houses and more cars. Nothing wrong with those things, but no worries for my girls. I feel more relaxed. I can serve others. So there's an identity attached to the freedom. I want you to see that. I want you to see that. So I'm going to go fast now. Get ready because I want to bring a few people on that I think will be really powerful to share their stories. How do broken stories automate the mind? This is what I really want you to understand. They're either inherited or infiltrated. 90% of your story about money and about financial freedom is inherited, literally repeated so much in your environment and family of origin that it became a pattern in your own subconscious, and it's running 90% of your decisions about money, your actions about money, and therefore your results with money. So the great news about that is I taught you STEBDAR. This is how we coach in 67-day year. We reverse it. So if I know that 90% of my decision making and my actions and therefore my results come from what is in automation in my subconscious that's been repeated, if I build a brain prime that starts to repeat the things that I want, which you've already written down, which is the freedom, the emotions attached to the freedom, the thoughts attached to the freedom, We'll dive more into that on Monday. Then I get to build a pattern in my subconscious that runs 90% of the day that only allows what I want to move me to the future I desire. Does that make sense? Because either it's inherited and 90%. Now, what is infiltrated? Infiltrated is a trauma happened in your adult life and therefore you shifted your money story. But that is very rare. It's not that it doesn't happen. Sometimes a medical thing happens or something happens and it shifts the way you think about money. But 90% of the time it's inherited, not infiltrated. That is great news because your brain is such a systematic processor that if we know that, then we can go in and through the mind matrix, and we're going to talk about the mind matrix today, we can remove the old one. And through brain priming, we can create a new one and get the reps in through brain priming to build, if I like could video your brain, build a pathway that's allowing the success, the freedom that you want, that you just wrote down, not just safety, but freedom, and literally eliminate the story that's been running 90% of your decisions, actions, and results, keeping you stuck. It's exactly why you need to be in the room. Because getting these things, hearing these things on your own, you guys are so smart. If you could have seen your blind spots, you would already be doing something about your blind spots. That's the power of the coaching. The 67-day year, that's a method. The neuro coaching is how we get you past STEBDAR, mind matrix, brain priming. The coaching, you're going to hear from a couple coaches today, is so powerful. So 90% inherited, 10% infiltrated. I'm going to throw some questions at you. Write your answers in the chat, and then I'm going to dive into how to flip your money story. Then we're going to bring some guests on. Do you believe? I'm just going to serve you some of the most common things, the most common inherited stories that I have heard over the last 10 years that have stopped people from getting to financial freedom. And when they flip it, they move to it. It's like a currency, right? They jump in the flow instead of try to go upstream. So here they are. If you hear money is this one, just write it back to me. Okay. Money is hard to make. Money is hard to make. Or have you had that feeling of I'm constricted, like there's not enough money. I have a lack of money and I want more money and there's always a lack of money. I'm constricted by the money that I have. It's literally chaining me in, right? Constricted. Make it right hard if that's something that you're like, yes, I've thought those thoughts. I don't know how to get more money. I don't know how to build more money. I don't know how to access more money. I don't know how. It's a big one that I hear. I'm trying to build, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this. I don't know how. Why? There's a level that you stay at. I shared my story about that yesterday. See, when you're young, you didn't have to buy anything. Money was not an issue. Like at 12 years old, you did not have a money store. Well, you did. It was being built by your environment of origin, but you didn't need to pay for anything for the most part, unless you've had a really rough childhood, and then you might have, but most of us don't. But what do we need when we're young? Love, valued. We need to be valued. We need to feel safe and we need to feel wanted. That's the currency of youth. That same story that you were in and when you were young, that wasn't your fault, transfers to your money story. So if it was easy to get love, it's probably feels easy to earn money. If you had to work really hard to get love, to get noticed in your family, to get attention in your environment of origin, then making money is going to feel hard because it's a pattern built on the currency that you had. In addition, you might have heard things like seeing your parents arguing over money or seeing bills stressing them out. Like remember, we're not going to add the snorkel and we're not going to deep dive back. Just know that it's inherited. So how do we flip this switch on your money story? Now, remember, next Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a workshop all around financial freedom. But how do you flip the switch on your money story? How do you take the king toes? Doesn't it feel like that? Like maybe a trickle is coming in. You remember when you did that during summertime? Like if you, maybe I'm dating myself, but like there would be hose, we drink out of the hose water, right? And then somebody would either step on the hose or like kink the hose so tight that nothing would come out. And then they'd wait till you like hold it like this and then they'd let it go and you just get blasted in the face. You guys remember that? Okay. So the hose, doesn't it feel right kinked if it feels like the flow is kinked? It's not that you can't make some, it's just I don't know how to make it flow to where it's just hitting me in the face and I've got freedom, right? So, right, kinked, if that's the kind of feeling you have, right? Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Okay, so let's flip it. There's 3 eyes that are part of the mind matrix to flip your money story. Now, obviously, I'm telling you the part of the mind matrix. But first, so it's 3 eyes. I'm going to tell you what they are. Identify, interrupt, and initiate. Identify, interrupt, and initiate. First of all, we got to identify what your story is. That's what we do in 67-day year. We do something called recognize and record. We recognize what your individual personal money story is, or your confidence story, or your worth story. So you see the process is the same no matter the pattern. So we get to peel the onion and say, where's the pattern about your confidence is the same pattern you're running in your money, by the way. The pattern, because value, safety, they're all connected. So identify, we got to identify what is it that's running my 90%. Because if we don't know what's running 90% of what we're doing with financial freedom, then you will not ever be financially free. This is why you're not learning this anywhere else. This is why you got to be in 67-day year, because understanding the pattern that's running, recognizing it, recording it, and then interrupting it, which we take you through a process called refute that allows you to not just flip the switch, but create a truth prime that is so real that it literally is like taking a jackhammer to your old patterns. They become unrecognizable in your brain. Can I get an amen for that? And who is up? Say amen if you're like up for those patterns that have stopped you time and time again to get jackhammered to where they're just unrecognizable. Okay, and then lastly, and I'm going to bring up some incredible people, is initiate, which means this is the part where we figure out what we've recognized, we've recorded it, we've gone through our mind matrix process of refuting it, and then we build this truth prime. We initiate the next program, the program that you want to be running 90% of your daily decisions, actions, and results around financial freedom. And then we get the reps in through a very proprietary process that you just listen to. You build it out with your coaches, but then you listen to it and you get the reps that actually take over. If I always like it, it's like a freeway, right? The freeway is running with no off ramps or on ramps, and it's just going. It's 90% of your decisions. But when we take the jackhammer to it, and then we do the initiate part where we completely rewire it, that freeway is gone. Like it can't be driven on. And I know some of the incredible coaches that are coming up today are going to tell some stories about that. But here's the problem. These stories, especially about money, because money means safety, because it's survival, they protect us. These old stories, they protect us. They feel comfortable. If you could see them already, you would have cleared them. And if you can't see them, you cannot interrupt them. You can't identify and interrupt and initiate if you cannot see them. This is why you need to be in 67-day year. This is the meat, the secret sauce, the thing that makes everything work from here on out. So go to 67dayyear.com. Do not miss that opportunity. It's really shifting from your money story being a default, which means it's somebody else's story, versus your life by design. All right. Based on that, I want to bring forward some incredible individuals a minute or two later than I was going to. But if you haven't, you've seen their names. You know what? Let me do this just for fun so they can see your names. There we go. So if we could see that, now we can see their names. Now you're like, wait a minute. I know these people. They've been commenting on my things, right? Nicholas saying that's amazing. So I brought these incredible human beings on. I can just tell you what a privilege it is to have them on our team. They are our master certified neuro coaches. We are real. We are real. So they are master certified neuro coaches. Okay, guys, this is what's so exciting. This is what's so exciting. I want to know what the light bulb moments are. This is what's so exciting. These beautiful women came into our program of the process of 67-day year. It was called something different back then. They went through the mind matrix, through STEBDAR, through brain priming. They flipped it. They're going to tell their stories. Then they went on to get certified as a coach so that they could coach people through the model because their lives transformed and they didn't want to coach in any other way other than full transformation. And then they went on because they're so obsessed with their clients and with you that they went on to get master certifications. Why? Because the model works. The model works. So I'm going to have, I think you can unmute yourself. I'm pretty sure. So Alex, I'd love for you to share just a little bit. Now, all of these ladies are master certified neuro coaches inside 67-day year. So you're going to have one of them in your small group coach. They're going to be coaching you in the hot seat calls or in the clarity coaching calls. Some of them, like Alex, are part of coffee chats where they're going to come on and do Q&As and speak and get you to the next level with things that are going on. But I'd love for you to share, rewind the tape if you can. And because there's a lot of people right now that they're on the fence. Let's just be real. They believe they're seeing that this is the new way. They know the old way is broken. And they have these patterns and they're going really slowly. And so they know they want this, but it's also like, does this really work? Or is this, you know what I mean? So I'd love for you to share just like let's just start with Alex and go our way through, but where were you? And just share what happened in your process. It's kind of less scripted than that.
Yeah. Well, I guess when I started, I honestly was on a mission to fix myself. So I had just burnt out, at the peak of what I thought was my career. And I was seeing, therapists and psychologists, and I was starting to learn about the brain. I started to learn about the role that our brain plays and the thoughts. And I had started CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which was about bringing to light, like, the role that our thoughts really play in this burnout. And I was so afraid to fail. I was so afraid to fail.
Remember that.
I was so afraid to take risk. I lost my confidence. I lost my motivation. Like I was just spinning. I was absolutely spinning. And I was so committed to fix myself that it's now completely transformed, and not only fixing myself, but being completely transformed. I also now get to obviously serve the amazing clients inside this community and my other clients too. And what was so cool is like hearing Dr. Shannon share her story and watching her very first masterclass, hearing her podcast, seeing her speak. And I've done all those things now, which I never could have fathomed when I first started doing this work and this journey. We bought a house. We're giving birth to our second daughter in several weeks' time.
Our second daughter. We're literally saying, because we have been there for the birth of the first daughter, the house, the second. So we're loving this.
And I've got to coach thousands not thousands yet, but hundreds of entrepreneurs. I've worked with a lot of female executives and seen this work everywhere across the board. Like that's what's so cool about this. It's transformed my family, my relationship, my business, my career. Like it's just unbelievable, because every time you notice something that's holding you back and you start to question, you have these tools, you know exactly what to do to have them become rewired. And it's so powerful. And I love it because because of the work, we know how our brain keeps us safe. You can see, like, that's what's so cool about being a coach, is you can see exactly where the brain is keeping our clients safe and what the story is, what the pattern is. And it really truly is the blind spot. And I mean, I when I do think back to my journey and process, it's like I am a completely transformed person. I'm happier. I'm so much more relaxed. I'm not stressed anymore. My anxiety is poof, it's gone.
Wow.
Um,
That's big.
and I mean, I spend present connected time with my daughter. I'm not feeling this
Mm.
pressure that I need to work 24/7. I've
Mhm.
really been able to be my true authentic self again and not be so afraid about being judged and criticized and rejected, and I can just show up as myself. And when you can truly show up as your true authentic self and not be so afraid of what other people are thinking of you,
Mhm.
I mean, I have my podcast, Unleash Unstoppable You, because it is about being unleashed. You don't feel like you're being this pressure externally from you because you just get to be you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like when I just think about it, it's unbelievable because my moment where I hit my burnout, I was so afraid to be judged, be criticized, have my, sorry, I'm losing I forgot the word I usually say. But I was so afraid that people would, like think or see me differently.
Yeah.
And
Find you lacking. Yeah.
And I was afraid to say the wrong thing, right? Because I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted people to acknowledge me for my knowledge and just I tied so much of my identity, as you spoke about before, Shannon,
Yeah.
into external validation, into what
Yeah.
everybody else thought about me. And I
Yeah.
completely disconnected from myself. And that's where it was the confidence piece and the motivation. I was looking externally and it
Yeah.
was really in me, but I didn't see it because
Yeah.
of my blind spots and
Yeah,
my
because it's a
yeah,
blind spot. I'm
yeah.
curious for those who are watching live and of course in replay, say this is me if you've had that same experience that Alex, like you're in that right now, trying to make it perfect, trying to do all the right things, trying to not be judged, afraid of what Aunt Ida's going to say if you go live, like I have to have it perfect, all of those things. Say that's me, because what you start to see is that yes, there's the individual patterns, but then there's also kind of these global patterns that the brain runs. And
Yeah.
this is the power of being in an intimate. And when we sat, by the way, the we I'm talking about, not all of them are here, but the we, when I say me and my coaches sat down, this is part of the we, and we're like, what do they need? And the model, the 67-day-year method, that's going to literally collapse time, right, Rihanna? Like it collapses time. And I'm going to talk to you about that. And it does, because you move the pattern and then nothing gets in the way and you can go fast. And you know exactly what to do. Super clear.
Can I add
And the patterns. Yeah.
one thing, Shannon, when
Yeah.
you said the perfection? Because I think this to me is the power of the group and being in the room and
Yeah.
being in the coaching. So I had been asked when I first started Journey by it was one of the therapists, like, was I a perfectionist? Like, was I struggling with perfectionism? And I said, no. I said, I'm just very detail orientated. And it was during a hot seat, during one of somebody else was being coached
Yeah.
around perfectionism, around what was coming up for them. I sat there and I was like, oh my goodness, that's me.
Yeah.
And I have multiple moments. And that's again the power of what you get in here. Like this is not anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I just started to, as you talked about identity, I started to uncover these things that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
But it was by hearing what other people were sharing and their stories, I started to see this commonality. And I was like, first of all, I'm not alone. It was the first time that I actually realized that there were more people out there who felt like me and
Yeah.
had a brain like me. And oh my goodness, I was able to work through so many more things that I never would have had I not heard what other people were sharing. So
Wow.
I just wanted to share that.
So powerful. Yeah, it's the power of being in the room. And I love, Alex, that you say that, because right, introvert, if you're an introvert in the chat, you're like, one of the reasons I don't love doing coaching is because I don't want to be the spotlight. Like, put introvert if that's you. I'm a very outgoing introvert. I get all kinds of energy from you guys, but at the end of the day, I gotta my husband knows, he's like, don't talk to her, like let her wind down. So where are my introverts at? Write it in the chat. I'm an proud introvert, social introvert, right? So here's the great news. What did Alex just say? Her biggest transformation was watching another person get coached and her saying, that's me too. And then doing the work and trusting the process. I do give an unconditional guarantee for this program, but it's called a show your work guarantee. And I'm very proud to do it, because it's like, we know, right? Like people who go all in, who trust the process, who show up, watching somebody else get coached, but you're there, and do the actual method, 100% success rate. 100% success rate. So for those, that's why I do that guarantee. Now, I don't guarantee it for people who won't play full out. I don't guarantee it for people who want everybody else to do the work for them. And I just won't, because that's, this is a personal program. So you've got to play full out. But that's great news for introverts, because Alex's big transformation came from someone else getting coached in the live coaching, and then things started to shift. And don't let her, she's so humble. Like, she was very successful when she came into the program. So she was just very aware that she kept stopping herself, and how frustrated she was on burnout. And she was so frustrated that, like, she kept stopping herself. Remember the law of inertia? Body motion stays in motion until that force kept coming. So anybody else so frustrated because they keep stopping themselves. That's exactly where Alex is. And then now she is family of choice, coaching team, speaking for us in the coaching chats, and really, really powerful. So I would love to jump over to my queen from Hawaii. I always love her, my aloha queen. I would love for you to share, same thing, rewind a little bit, introduce a little bit about your history, because I think that's important for people to know where you came from, and just how, once you did build the belief, how fast it went. I would love for you to share that. So I'm just going to throw the baton to you.
Well, you know how much I love to avoid my story.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Like she said, I am from Hawaii, and I actually started entrepreneurship in a cookie business. And I had a similar story to Alex, where I burnt out as a physical therapist and literally quit my job with no plan in place because I was getting sick from all of the stress. And like, I created a cookie business just because I loved it, and it brought back so many family memories, and that ended up replacing my PT income, which is crazy. But I still felt this calling to help more people, not just through cookies. Like, it was really about, like, I missed watching transformation of people, especially as a physical therapist. Like, I missed being able to connect with people the way that, coaching allows me to. Like, that's what I loved the most about PT, was that I was able to be in the room with them and really hold space for their vision of like what it could look like.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people started actually asking me about my journey through burnout. And that led to me just want to coach with me. I had no idea what I was doing, by the way, like no idea. I was just like, well, if they're asking me questions, why don't I just offer it? And then I was like, okay, I don't know how to coach. And so I really, I stumbled across Dr. Shannon on a podcast, and I was hooked because everything she was talking about, it was the same way that I'm teaching patients new motor patterns, except it was for belief patterns.
Yeah.
And my nerdy self was like, oh my gosh, I need to get in the room. I need to hear more. Got NeuroCoach certified, and Dr. Shannon and Alex and even Beth can attest to like all of the growth they've seen me go through in the past year.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because even though I was in the room getting certified, oh my goodness, I had all of my Hawaii, our culture, we are so family oriented. And today's topic is all about money. And I had so many money stories that really, really kept tripping me up. One of them being that I was making a mistake by investing in myself because I saw it as more debt.
Yeah.
Like I saw it as, oh my gosh, I'm digging a bigger hole. And me and my husband are going to be homeless on the streets or living with my parents. And I had all of these stories also about like my parents worked so hard to send me to PT school. And I had the story that Dr. Shannon, I had no idea the story was here, but Dr. Shannon helped me see it, that the story was that I was throwing everything away to do this.
Yeah.
And once I eliminated that, with a few hiccups here and there, right?
A couple. That's okay. It's part of the process.
It collapsed time.
Yeah.
And I went from chasing courses after course after course after course, and literally digging myself a bigger hole, where if I would have just started here,
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, like, it would have accelerated me way faster than doing the course chasing.
Yeah.
Because what I learned is that it doesn't matter about the strategies if I don't believe that I am worthy of receiving the money.
Yeah.
If I don't believe that I am capable of this and that I am a powerhouse. Like, I used to never be able to say that. I used to never call myself a doctor, which I am.
Yeah.
And so all of these stories were getting in my own way. And I know that many of you guys who are on the fence are wondering, like, does it work? And I can't speak into this enough. It does.
Yeah.
Like, to watch not only my own, like Alex touched on this, but that it changes more than just business.
Yeah.
It changed my life. It changed the way I show up in the room. I am 1,000% more confident than I was when
yes, you are.
I first started. And the same gets to be true for you guys.
Yeah. And this is what I love about my family of choice. They're like so humble. So how many stages have you spoken on in the last 6 months?
3.
So she's had 3. She's spoken on, been called to speak on 3 stages. And how many clients do you have from 0 to how many clients do you have in your programs right now?
I have a total of 12. And
yeah.
So it's been awesome. And some people are re-enrolling, which is awesome. And yeah, I'm excited.
And so it's power. This is why I don't hire coaches that are not trained through us, that don't know the model and the method, because there are, and I won't go a hard left. I want to. There are those of you who need to get certified, and you're hearing it here, but get in 67-day year, because the broken coaching methods out there just don't work. And so getting to transform the right way, it's permanent. So what's possible, what was only a dream for you, I just need to get 1 client, to stages, 12 clients, renewing, like what's next for you? And this is what opens, right? What becomes possible when you no longer let the patterns repeat and you're finally done with the pattern, right?
Yeah. Well, you saw in the chat, I posted my dream house, which is on 5 acres of land. My husband, who's a carpenter, he's retired because his body is, there's only so much PT can do for him. And we are excited to just go home more frequently and just travel. Like, even this past year, the things that this has unlocked, like, I've been able to go to Japan and I've been able to do these things, and
so much travel.
I never thought I would be in this position. Yeah. Like, I thought I was going to be homeless on the streets. Like,
that was the pattern that was repeating. And now now she's traveled to 2 countries Hawaii isn't a country, but it's a place. So 2 major places, and built her business free. I can call her queen, and she just nods now in humility, and instead of like, no. It's so fun to be, I don't know, this is, for me, this is my calling, to be a part of incredible powerhouse men and women like these. And I just get to be the part of it. This is a blessing to hear your story. I know it, but it's great to hear it. So, and I'm just curious, who is like her? Who is like, I had this past career, my family and identity, and it's all kind of wrapped up, and I don't want to put anything out there because what will they say? And I don't know who's going to listen to me, right? And then the shift that can happen so fast so fast. Like, I think those clients, 12 clients, were in the last, like, I mean, you've had clients all along, but like the growth trajectory was like really in the last 60 days. You should just like, and that's what
I'm only
happens.
in my first year of business, so like,
That's crazy. That's
yeah.
crazy. That's crazy.
So yeah, year
I
and
love
a
it.
few months. Other than that, it's been a wild, fast, crazy ride.
Yes. Yes. And that's what when we say speed, that is really the thing. Like when you move the pattern, you go fast. When you move the pattern, you go fast. So I adore you so much. And of course, our beautiful Beth, our incredible Beth. So, Beth, I would love for you to share your take on the process that you've gone through, because all three of you have different starting points. You had different things that were kind of, you were wanting to get past so that you could build, right? So I'd love for you to share kind of where you started and what's happened with being in the room. Oh, we can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm not even the same person that I was before I met you a couple years ago. I'm also one of those people that chased coaches, and it wasn't that I didn't believe in getting coaching. I did.
Yeah.
But Shannon, when you talk about a broken coaching model, oh my gosh, I mean, thousands I spent, and it just never clicked, and it never worked, and I thought it was me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. A little bit of my history is I am a realtor, broker, actually, 30 years worth. And 15 of those years I spent selling new homes, new construction. And when the market took a downturn in 2007, I was one of the casualties of that. And in one 15-minute meeting, went from making 6 figures a year to unemployment. And it wasn't just the money, but it was like my identity got stolen. It was who I was what I did.
Yeah.
And I worked at it 60 hours a week. And that's who I was. And that's who everybody knew me for. So all of a sudden that was gone. And I'm like, who am I and what do I do next? So I admittedly stayed stuck for a long time. It's not that I didn't do anything, but I tried a lot of things.
Anybody else? Say that's me in the chat.
Network marketing and this thing and that thing, and nothing stuck. And I told myself one day, I'm like, I want to find something that I love as much as I did when I decided to go into real estate, because it is my passion. There is nothing that jazzes me more than helping someone get through that process, giving them their keys. And it's like I help make their dreams come true. They did a lot of the work, but I was the guide. And still to this day, it just, so through a very long, well, not too long a process, but with Dr. Shannon's help, we helped whittle down my folks that I work with. And so now I help new agents not just learn the mechanics of the business, but the mindset to be able to build their business the way they want and to set themselves up so they never have to worry about the market crashing or anything like that happening again, because they've got in them the ability to shift, the ability to think themselves out of it. Yeah. So, that's.
Yeah. And she trains sales and sales conversions, which is for those first year people are really, really important. I'd love for you to chat a little bit. Nicholas said it, and it's, I think, really important thing to talk about, because not only did you go through this personally, but now through us in our coaching team, you've coached hundreds of people from here to there, from that feeling when they enter the room of, oh my God, I hope this works this time. I've spent so much. I have debt, right? Like the debt question. And yet there's still this, like, I know the patterns need to be flipped, and I know I need a different way to accomplish because it's just not working. I think Nicholas said this is like the shiny, like I had shiny objects and I bought them and now I'm paying them off. I would love for you all to talk about, because I know that was the case for a lot of you. And now you're like had this happen, that would have continued to build up and all of those things would continue to be shameful instead of actually working. So I'd love for you to talk about that, how being in this room makes all that work, right? Just whoever wants to chime in on that one.
This actually works. I mean, when you do the work,
Yeah.
when you do the steps, and it's so step by step. And
Woo!
when you come up with the brain primes and you listen to the brain primes, and I'll be real honest, I resisted it for a while. And Shannon will tell you that. And everybody else will tell you that. And it showed. And these last few months, I have been diligent and I have done it and I've reworked a few of them, but I listen to them every day. And because of that, I mean, things are just exploding. So when she says trust the process because it does work.
She's talking about the brain primes. We're going to talk about brain priming and that process on Monday, I believe, in addition to finishing. Yeah.
I want to speak into that too, with the shiny object syndrome and going like deeper in the hole, so to speak, because I was in the same boat, Beth. And yes, it was where it became a thing that I mean, how did I describe it to you, Shannon? It was like, I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
In
Lots of shame.
a lot of shame. And that was the shame in itself was one of the very things that was actually keeping me from being able to receive. And I know Alex worked through a lot of that story with me as well, because I had invested in a coach that didn't know how to coach.
Right. A lot of money. And I'm sorry if I've told her so many times, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And for anybody watching and listening, I'm so sorry if you've on it. And I'm just going to use the word, if you've been a victim to really bad coaching in the past. And so, but that story kind of moved and keep going. Cause I love where you've come from to where you are now.
Yeah. I mean, am I still paying it off? Yes. That's how big of an investment it was.
Yeah.
And that is the knowledge of knowing how your coaches coach and knowing that there are people that got results, and hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
Like I look back now and I'm like, why did I not see that flag or that flag?
Yeah.
And it's neutral though at this point, because we learn from it and we move forward. And that is what I love so much about these tools is, like Beth said, the step by step by step to one foot in front of the other. And eventually you start sprinting.
Yeah. Oh, I love that image. It's so true. And here's what I need you guys to hear. Like, it's not guru is saying, do this. It's saying, no. This is a method. Here's the coaching model. We're all walking through it with you and we're all doing it too. Like, this is a lifer kind of thing. This is how we accomplish anything, right, ladies? Like, this is how we get from this to this to this to this. And so I love that you talk about the step by step by step, because to me, that's what's missing. Like, how? Just show me. I remember before I went to get my PhD, just show me how my brain can work like hers. Like, that's literally what my prayer was. And that created the obsession that went to get the PhD, that then got to annoy all the scientists because I was solving me. And honestly, my faith tripled because I saw all of it already in scripture. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was always there. But that's okay. And just uncovering that your brain and how limitations get created is step by step. How they get removed is step by step, but you're just not getting it out there. You're getting a lot of motivation, which disappears pretty darn quick. How many times have we ever been motivated by a vision board or affirmations or this and that? It's not that they're bad. It's just they aren't complete. And that's what's wrong in the industry right now is there's a lot of incomplete methods trying to help transform people's lives versus the method that actually transforms you from the inside out. So any last steps we want to chat about? Yeah, Alex.
Well, I guess there's a couple things that are going in my mind. First, this is not a course. I guess I wanted, right? It's not your typical type of course. Like, you learn these step-by-step model to reverse engineer. I think that's what, and then Shannon knows this, everyone, Beth and Rihanna know this, that I know Shannon's talking about StepDAR, and there's a backwards process.
Yes.
There's rad beds. I love, like, that to me is the secret sauce to know how to reverse engineer back to your belief system, because that, in terms of looking at specific, I'm going to say specifically burnout, but anything, as soon as you declare what it is that you want, you reverse engineer and get to what is that's holding you back. Yeah. And I want to lean into, like, I have been approached, and I do coach in several other communities because it's all strategy and the clients are not getting the results. And so they have me come in to teach them the neuroscience, right? Neurohacking the results because of what Dr. Shannon has taught me and everyone here. Yeah. So I get so excited because, even I can't wait for next week because yes, I'm giving birth in potentially 5 to 7 weeks. And so I get to set up myself up now for when the baby arrives, right? And there's no other, and I mean, formula, secret sauce, however you want to look at it, to better prepare. And I did this as well when I first gave birth to Abby, and now I get to become a mom of 2, right? Like, that's unknown. Our brain, I've never done that before. So my brain is having temper tantrums right now because of the unknown. But Shannon gives us exactly the step-by-step process. And I love, it's the structure, it's the accountability, it's the coaching, like having the pods and the amount of coaching available, because we all have our own gifts with our coaching, but it comes down to the source. Like, that's what it is. It's not a Band-Aid solution. And I'm sorry, I know I get excited about this because I did actually work with a coach prior to finding Shannon in corporate. And basically the answer was there's no solution to help you, because it was just looking for like that top level. Like the Band-Aid solution. This is no Band-Aid solution. Like, it really will transform all areas of your life. And it's, understanding how your brain works, like, learn this stuff in school. And I'm an educator. I got background in education. And even just looking at my daughter and how her brain is being developed, like, I know exactly how to set her up for success using neuroscience, thanks to what Dr. Shannon taught me, to help her not have to be afraid and have all of these things. And it's so cool to understand that. And so to know that you can essentially, neutralize and erase like however many years of your life that isn't serving you. It's so cool. So I love this stuff.
I love that you do. And it speeds things up. And so I have 2 more questions for all of you. Talk about the speed. I think it's important because we're talking about the patterns. That is a core component of 67-day year. Because I don't know how fast I can show you 1,000 ways to make money. And I have, and I will. I can show you 1,000,000. In fact, our bonus structure is like a 6-figure business in a box. Like, why? Because most of you are entrepreneurs, not all of you, but a lot of you. So I want to give you tools. So like, look at the bonuses at 67dayyear.com, scroll all the way down. And you're like, she's crazy pants. Like, why is she doing that? Because I know your brain's going to tell you need those things. So they're there. But talk about the speed when, of course, the patterns got to move. So we'll assume that will happen for everybody who joins, and they will no longer be hooked to the old money story, the old confidence story, the old shame story, whatever theirs is. And by the way, from this point forward, you should never, ever invest in a cookie cutter program. Your story is different than her story, is different than her story, is different than her story, it's different than my story. It is the story that is in your subconscious, not mine, yours, that we move. That's why it's so personal. That's why we coach the way we do. And that's why we walk beside you the way we do. Because when you actually hear the stories, nobody ever has said, I have imposter syndrome. They just haven't. They've said things like, well, who the heck's going to listen to me? Oh my gosh, I'm going to embarrass myself, whatever it is. So we get after those things and shift it. But assuming that happens for everybody, because it will, as long as they trust the process, go all in, do the work, not hide, Didn't say not being an introvert. You can be an introvert in this program. Just don't hide. Physically be there, and you'll start to transform, just like Alex. I can't even imagine you not on stages now, which is just so funny. But talk about the speed, because I think it's important for people. Like, they hear Billy Year's worth of goals in 67 days, and they're like, really? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, that can't be done because everybody would be doing it. Well, everybody's not in this program. And that's the difference between the 97% and the 3% that are in the room. So just based on your own experience, when the pattern's clear, just talk about the speed that the results start to come for you. Just whoever wants to go.
Well, I can. Well, yeah, like, go ahead,
Yeah,
Beth.
because you're not working off willpower anymore. You're not
Yeah.
pushing a rope uphill. You already know the process to follow. You know what you want. Okay, something's coming up. How do I deal with it? And it's just step by step on the way to get it.
Yeah.
So fast.
Super, super fast. And she is, I don't know what's going on because we haven't caught up the last couple days, but I know because she stepped in, moved her pattern, she had like a huge opportunity come her way that she would have literally pushed away before. And now, like, we're talking one of these big, big opportunities that's come her way. I can't reveal it because we're just, in that process. But so what else? What about the speed? Let's talk about speed to the results.
Well, I can talk about the house. I mean, doing a challenge just like this, right? Doing the vision of us having this house, which I honestly never thought we would buy a house, was never interested in a house, and being here with Dr. Shannon, going through the work and sitting there and connecting with it. And it was end of March. I've been listening to my Brain Prime, which I know you guys you're going to talk about next week, listening to my Brain Prime. And all of a sudden it was like, well, are we going to make this happen or not? Within 4 weeks, within 6 weeks from that moment, we'd moved into our home. Wow. Because my reticular activating system was now activated. And that's what's so cool, learning about the neuroscience of your brain. And I couldn't, like, there's no way, like, even to write it down in my Brain Prime, I was like, 3 months we can find a house. Like,
and it was 6 weeks.
And it was 6 weeks because we hadn't even really talked about it. It was like, okay, are we going to make this happen? Within 6 weeks, we were moving in to our home. And I know it's a very tactical, but to me, that was just mind blowing to see how quickly that happened. And it's because of priming.
Yeah.
I can speak to both the slowness and the speed.
Okay, cool. I love it.
Because Alex and Dr. Shannon pushed me, especially, there were times where I wasn't playing full out, where I wasn't trusting the process. So I was like straddling the line, and that was when it would be like, okay, one client trickle in, and then radio silence. And then once I played full out and really committed, that's when the magic happened, where I leaned in, I trusted the process, and really said, okay, you know what? I've been doing it this way my entire life.
Yeah.
What happens if I just try it? 90 days. That's all it requires you to try, right? Yeah. And boom, that's when rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel.
In my clients too. Like, my client had 2K months, and he told me it was going to be impossible to get 10K months in 90 days. Well, he's one sale away from a 10K month, and we've been working together for like a month.
Yeah, these are the level of coaches that are coaching you inside. It's not just your multi-7-figure business owner. These ladies have businesses. They know what it means to move sales, niche, audience, all the things, because we go through that. And Velma, I see your comment. And the thing is, the infiltration of what happened gets to get flipped and change meaning. And that's what we're going to do together. All right, we got to wrap because I'm realizing the time. And I can literally sit here and talk to these ladies all day because I just love being a part of their journey for what was, what is, and what is coming. And that's really, really exciting. I'd just love for each of you, we'll just go around robin, because you guys know, like, the fast starts are already in, right? And so there's a lot of people on the fence, and they're convincing themselves, like, because of the past, right? And so I just would love for you to talk about, like, just talk to the person. And if you're on the fence, right? Fence, like, you're thinking about it, you know, this is different. You know, you're not going to get this anywhere else. And you're like, like, I just need help making this decision. By the way, we'll jump in our DMs. We will answer your questions. We have literally told people this is not for you, because it's not about getting you to say yes to the program. This is, before I ask that question, I'm not even going to say it, but so when you join, it's a yes to you. But I'm not even going to tee this up. What is our win as coaches in the 67-day year? When do we feel like we've hit a win with somebody who's joined? Is it when they buy, or is it when they go all the way through and hit their goal? Yeah, exactly. So our mind is focused literally right next to you on moving you to the finish line, not just getting you in the room, right? Not just getting you in the room. Yep, exactly. So talk to the person on the fence that's probably telling themselves something like, well, I'll wait till next week to make the decision, and I'll see, you know, I'll think about it, and I'll see. Just talk to them about why they need to jump off the fence before, like, today. They need to jump off the fence today. Alex, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to lean into something, like, even to the previous question about, like, how fast things can happen.
Yeah.
As soon as you set your intention, everything shifts. So was it last round of 67, or I think it might have been the fall round? I realized I hadn't spoken on a couple stages in a while.
Yeah.
And then I went into our Facebook group and I declared, and within 24 hours, I had 3 speaking opportunities and a collaboration. Within 24 hours. Intention is everything. And right, because of, again, it is the neuroscience and our brains and the reticular activating system of getting connected with what's important to you.
Yeah.
And so it's that reverse engineering. Like, you're all here because you have a goal for 67 days. You've got connected with that. Lean into that intention and ask yourselves, who do you get to be to create that?
Yeah.
Right. And I'll never forget, because this has been a game changer for me when I've ever first heard Dr. Shannon talk about step into your future, step into your vision. And from that future version of yourself, what decision do you get to take today to then create that, right? That decision to take the action to then create that result.
Yeah.
And because of being able to step in to that place always, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when there's, right, you're unsure, it's that place that's been guiding me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm inviting you to lean into. The moment you say yes to yourself, the moment that you make the commitment, everything shifts and things open up to you. And that's what's so cool, because we see it over and over again, because if you've gotten connected with that intention. The sitting on the fence piece is your brain keeping you safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's time to say yes to you, and it's time to stop playing safe, and it's time to get uncomfortable and learn, honestly, the key secret ingredient to what's going to just completely change your lives.
The rocket fuel. I'm like, I love that. The rocket fuel. And also, as you're answering this, Beth and Rihanna, I'd love for you to say, like, because a couple, like, lone wolfing is part of the problem. Like, I'll just do it on my own. I've learned enough this week. And we do that because we're wanting to mitigate the risk of other people seeing us, right? So talk about that in terms of people on the fence and people that are just scared. They're just scared to make a mistake. Yeah. So Beth, why don't you go on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that one. Like I said, having gone through the several coaches that I've gone through, it was like, is this just going to be more of the same? And something about Dr. Shannon's message, it was just so different. Working with the brain, working with the neuroplasticity, all of that stuff, that I'm like, you know what? It just, if I hadn't done it when I did it, I would still be stuck back where I was. Yeah. And that was not a place that I wanted to be anymore. Yeah. And so by just making the decision and getting involved with the program, like Alex said, from that moment, everything shifted. And even though I was my own worst enemy at times and I was the lone wolf, but once I got past that and really said, Beth, what you've done in the past hasn't worked. So, hey, girlfriend, like other side of the fence now. So once that happened, so don't make the same mistake I did. Just do it. It will be absolutely the best decision you've ever made, not just for your business, but for your entire life.
Awesome. Love it. Rana, what about you? What do you want to say to them? Because you're my processor. So I can always look at, because she's like you. She is a processor. She is not a fast start. She's thinking through it and she's doing it. So where my processor's at, they're thinking about it all week. I think over the weekend and that kind of thing. So just talk to that person that's there.
Like, first, it's normal that you are processing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I'm always in my head, always. And I'm always analyzing, okay, everything. What could be the worst case scenario? All of these things. And I did the same thing, even with Dr. Shannon's programs. Like, I did the same thing. And one of the things, like, I know that past mistakes, like we talked about, where when you are at your most impressionable times, you learned a pattern to not listen to your intuition and to not trust that voice inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you had mistakes along the way of investing in the wrong coach or investing in a program that promised the world and gave you 0 ROI. Yeah. Like, I've been there. And one of the biggest things about entrepreneurship that you hear it, not just in Dr. Shannon's program, but you hear it on podcasts, you hear it everywhere, is the importance of trusting that intuition. And I can't speak enough to that, because once I fully did, and not like, oh, maybe, and, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Once I put both feet once I put both feet in, that's when everything changed, because like Alex said, intentionality is everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know how spiritual everyone in here is, but just that intentionality attracts the right people, attracts the right opportunities, because what you sow, you will reap. Absolutely. We hear that all the time from Shannon, and it's so true. And I didn't get it until I stopped straddling the fence. Yeah. So I understand there are fears of making another mistake. I had those same fears. And if I can do it with a lot of tears, you can too.
Yeah, I love it. Ladies, thank you for being on today. I adore you. I am so privileged to call you my family of choice, and I get to be with you and literally walk through this with the next group that's coming through 67-day year. We get to celebrate them creating a year's worth of goals in 67 days and ditching those patterns for good. That is such a blessing for us. So thank you for taking time. Guys, they took time today to be here live because that's how much they care about you being in the room. That's how much you care about you being in the room. So they will be one of them, or one of our other coaches that you haven't met today will be your pod leaders. We're a very small pod. I'm going to go ahead and pull you guys out. Thank you so much. I love you guys to pieces. Bye. So I'm going to wrap on that. We've got an hour and a half, but it was a really powerful day. So remember, because you know where the money story comes from, and you inherited it more likely, or it infiltrated, but most likely, here's the great news. When you learn through the model to identify it, to eliminate it, and then to prime in what you want versus what is on autopilot, the game changes for you. So I'm going to ask the question I ask at the end of every training: if this was valuable for you today, write 10 out of 10 or powerful, whatever thought comes to your mind about that. because we want to always deliver. Now, remember next week. So here's what we do. Jump into 67 Day Year, go to 67dayyear.com because we always reward fast action takers. There are always magical bonuses that appear for those who join before the weekend. So don't wait. Just like, this is your call. I don't know who landed with you and is like walking the story a few steps ahead of you. I know sometimes we were, Rihanna and I were talking about the fact that like, yeah, you're hearing it from me, but I wanted to bring them forward because the only reason they're coaching in our world is because it works for them. And so join before the end of the weekend. Now on Monday, here's the thing, 67 Day Year replay, 67dayreplay.com is where all the replays are. It'll take about a few hours for this one to get up there. Of course, you can look at them in the Unleashed Entrepreneur Facebook group up there in the featured if you don't want to wait. But you've got the weekend to go to that page, 67dayreplay.com, watch or rewatch the trainings. We helped you develop meaningful goals, recognize the patterns that are stopping you. The mountain, the boulder, down to one boulder. And now you're like brainstorming the things that one boulder will need. And now on Monday, we'll be back together live at 12 p.m. again. Now the doors are going to be closing on Thursday. And once the doors close, we take all our energy and move it to the people who are in. And we don't open the doors again for, I don't know when. I don't know if we'll open one again in summertime. I'm not sure if I will. So jump in before the end of the weekend. Get the extras that come with that from that fast action, and literally get in a place where you say yes to yourself and trust your intuition like they were talking about. But Monday, we're going to be back together. We're going to be finalizing your 67 Day Year map. We're going to also be diving into brain priming. Tuesday is going to be our financial freedom workshop. Wednesday, I'm going to bring on clients. I don't like to call them students, clients, because this is not a course. This is not a program. This is a life-changing method. So I'm going to bring on people who are in the last round of 67 days. So they just went through it. And they're going to come out on Wednesday and share where they started, what happened, what they were able to accomplish, what's shifted. So they're not our coaches. They're people who literally are just 67 days ahead of you. And they're going to share their stories on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, my dear friend Rex Crane's going to be here. And he's going to be talking about removing limitations fast. And if you don't know who Rex Crane is, he is one of the most sought after speakers. And he's a dear friend of mine. He loves 67 Day Year. He's a wholehearted believer in the method. And he's going to come forward and talk to you on that day. And then the doors will close that night. So make sure you're in the room. Have an incredible weekend. Before I went live, I actually recorded a voicemail for you that I'm going to send to you on Saturday. So open that email on Saturday because I've got something that I want you to hear over the weekend that you could kind of be marinating in. Have you guys been enjoying those voicemails that I've been leaving? Some of you have been getting, and where I'm like kind of doing some micro coaching in the moment and just really helping you see a shift in thinking and a shift in a pattern. So I'm going to continue to do that. You'll get one of those on Saturday. I was super downloaded this morning on something for you and just the patterns I'm seeing in the room. And use the weekend to watch the replays, to do the action steps, to marinate in the momentum that you're gaining. Like I said, somebody got a $10,000 client. Another person got 3 new clients. Why? Because they're believing in it. They're trusting the process. And they're realizing that doing it the old way and expecting different results didn't work. So they went all in, even in this free side. And look what's happened. So those people, I know will be getting to 6 and 7 figures in their business because they're going to go all in. Will that be you? Will that be you? So go to 67dayyear.com, join, and I will be back here Monday, 12 p.m. Central, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern to dive deep into your 67-day year, teach you brain priming, and getting you really access to speed. All right. Thank you. I will see you guys on Monday.